So today, we're jumping into this really high-stakes story of, well, doom and salvation pulled straight from the Mahabharata. We're talking about a situation where an entire race is basically sentenced to death, and their only glimmer of hope? It comes from a secret prophecy somebody overheard ages and ages ago.
So, this quote really sets the stage perfectly. One cursed by fate has recourse only to fate. I mean, think about that. It gets right to the heart of the impossible problem the whole serpent race is up against. If the thing condemning you is destiny, how in the world do you fight back? Where do you even start looking for a way out?
The scene opens on this, you can just imagine, this desperate meeting of all the serpents. They're terrified, right? They know their end is coming. But then one of them, a serpent named Elapatra, he stands up, and he's about to drop a bombshell about what's really going on.
See, he tells them, look, you're all scared of the wrong thing. Their biggest threat isn't some king they can go to war with, like King Janamejaya, who's supposed to hold this massive serpent sacrifice. Nope. He says their terror comes from something way deeper, something untouchable. And Elapatra's logic here is it's rock solid. You can't fight a cosmic-level problem with, swords and shields. The curse was literally woven into the fabric of fate itself. So if they're going to find a way out, that solution has to come from the exact same place.
So you got to be asking, how does Elapatra know all this, right? Is he just guessing? Not at all. Turns out he's holding on to his secret he learned by eavesdropping on a conversation between the gods. Yeah, a long, long time ago. And this is where we get this incredible flashback. I want you to picture it. A tiny, young Elapatra just trembling in his mother's lap, and he's hearing the gods themselves discussing the curse against his people. He was there. He was in the room, so to speak, when the highest power in the cosmos gave it the green light. And the other gods, the devas, they're just floored. They can't believe it. They turn right to the creator, Brahma, and they're like, wait, what? Why did you let her do that? They're asking why he let the serpent mother, Kadru, curse her own kids to death right there in front of him. And Brahma's answer is, honestly, it's pretty chilling. He basically says, oh, I didn't stop her. In fact, I encouraged it. He actually said, so be it. And his reason? He claims it was all for the greater good, for the welfare of all the other creatures. Which, brings us to the creator's logic here. How on earth can wiping out an entire species be considered cosmic balancing? It sounds insane, right? Well, according to Brahma, the serpent population had just exploded. They'd become a real menace. He says a lot of them were just plain cruel, super venomous, and they were biting other creatures not because they were hungry or defending themselves, but just for the twisted pleasure of it.
But here's the thing. Brahma's judgment wasn't just a blanket destroy them all. He makes a really important distinction. He clarifies that the curse is really aimed at the wicked ones, the cruel, poisonous ones. He says the good guys, the virtuous and harmless snakes, they'll be spared. But that just raises another question, right? How? So the answer Brahma gives the gods, it's not some simple, don't worry, I'll save them. No, it's way more complicated. It's a prophecy, a very, very specific one that lays out this one single, narrow path for the good snakes to get out of this alive. And when I say specific, I mean specific. It's like a cosmic domino effect that has to happen in perfect order. First, a great rishi, a wise man named Jaratkaru, has to be born. Then, that rishi has to have a son, and his name will be Astika. And it's only this kid, Astika, who will have the power to step in, stop the big sacrifice, and save all the good serpents. Okay, so obviously the gods are thinking, all right, we've got the dad, but who's the mom? This great sage can't just have a kid by himself. So they ask the logical next question, who is going to be the mother of this savior? And this is where Brahma drops the final, critical piece of the puzzle. And it's a weird one. He says the union has to be between two people with the exact same name. The father, this sage named Jaratkaru, has to marry a woman also named Jaratkaru. And what are the odds? It just so happens that the serpent king, Vasuki, has a sister with that exact name. Okay, so let's flash forward again, back to that tense meeting of the serpents. Elapatra, who has been sitting on this insane secret for who knows how long, is finally about to connect all the dots for everyone there. He looks right at his king, Vasuki, and basically says, you know that serpent princess from the prophecy? She's here, right now, among us.
Can you imagine? Their one shot at survival, their only hope, has been right there with them this whole time, just waiting. So Elapatra's whole story builds to this one single, urgent point. He's not just telling a cool story from the past. He's giving them their only game plan. He's saying the time to act is now. He tells Vasuki, you have to give your sister to the Rishi Jaratkaru. As his wife, it's the only way. And that's where we're left, with this huge question hanging in the air. The prophecy is out there. The path seems clear. But it all comes down to this one very personal and super uncertain thing. Is a holy sage, a man of great wisdom, actually going to agree to marry a serpent? A serpent princess, no less. Especially to fulfill a destiny he probably doesn't even know is his. What do you think is going to happen?